Hi everybody, welcome back to Tutorials, and welcome back to the array methods tutorial that I'm having right now. So if you guys watched the first video, I did a tutorial on filter where I'm not sure if this is close enough. Oh, that's too close. Alright, so hopefully you guys can read that. But I did a tutorial on filter where I taught you guys how to use an arrow function to filter the elements inside an array. For example, we did this where we filter an even number. We filtered the even numbers. We filtered from this array the strings that had an L in their name, and we also learned to filter from objects, which I think was pretty cool. Moving on, we've got reduce now. So the reduce array method dot reduce, and I believe that this method was like a bit harder, and it's one of those methods that are a bit harder, right? And keep in mind this is in JavaScript. So reduce is a method that basically takes in the elements of an array and reduces it into one value that it returns. And it works by, well, you put an arrow function inside of it, and you write a reduction code inside the arrow function, and then you return the final value. Inside the arrow function, you have these two parameters that you need to keep in mind. There's the accumulator and the next array element. So if you guys don't understand any of that, that's okay. But the accumulator is it's related to the thing that you want to return, and it's like the current reduced value, if you think about it that way. And the next array element, well, that reduce iterates through the array like a bit of a loop, and the accumulator might change based on what the next array element is. Once again, if you guys don't understand any of that, don't worry, it's totally fine. And now I'm just going to start with writing a few arrays, one for strings and one for numbers. So let's make an array called prices. Maybe this could be numbers, and let's make it like 129, maybe like 15, 80. These are totally random, 20 or something. And let's also do a decimal, because like in JavaScript, decimals are considered numbers, like there's no floats or things like that. And next, let's also do one for strings. And lately I've watched a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I absolutely love it. So let's make one called gang, which I think is what they call Team Avatar. And div ang Katara. There's also Sokka, Toph, and there's my favorite character Zuko, and there's the one that everyone forgets, Suki. Okay, so now we have two arrays to work with, prices and gang, which is an array of strings, right? So to introduce you guys to the reduce method, let's work with numbers first, because they're always like simpler in these. So we do array.reduce, so prices.reduce, and we have to stick in an arrow function with the curly brackets, right? And there's the accumulator and the next array element. So what I'm going to do is first you have to figure out what we want to do with reduce, and I'm going to show you guys in this instance how to find the sum of the numbers with reduce. So find sum of numbers with reduce, and the accumulator in this case is going to be the sum, right? It's the thing we want to return. And the next array element is just going to be the next price. So as I told you, reduce kind of loops through the array. So it's going to loop through 129, and then the next price is going to be 15, and then it's going to loop through 15, and then the next is 80, and so on. And I'm just going to put a space there. And now what we have to do is we have to add the sum to the next price. So just imagine that the prices array is just the first price, like 129, like this. Now the sum would be 129. As we add 15, the next price is 15, and we want to add the current sum to the next price, and we're going to make that the new sum, and reduce does that for us. So what we're going to do is we're just going to return sum plus next price. It's going to iterate through the prices array, and then it's going to add the next price into the sum until it's finally the sum. And I think I'm just going to save this to a variable. So total price would be a pretty cool name, and then we could also console.log it. Console.log total price. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use NodeJS to run this. Node is a JavaScript runtime environment. If you don't have it, I really recommend you guys to get it, because it's a lot easier for just testing like this than going on the browser and actually typing the code out in the console. I think this is a lot more intuitive and better. So how we run Node JavaScript files with Node.js is we do node and then the file name reduce.js, and as you see it returns 345.7, and if you do the math, like 129 plus 15 plus 80 plus 43 plus 20 plus 58.7, it is 345.7. so we know this works. So hopefully you guys understand the reduce method a little bit more. Alright, so now I'm going to try to use reduce to find the highest price from the prices array. So once again, like we did with total price, I'm just going to clear that. Prices.reduce, and now we're trying to find the highest price. So highest price, and then next one will be next price, because if you remember, we're going to be iterating through the thing, and there has to be braces there because reduce is a method, and curly braces as well. So this is a little bit more tricky than just finding the sum of the arrays values. So what we do is I'm just going to imagine that prices only has 129 and 15 like last time, and what we want to do is if the next price is higher than the highest price, we want the highest price to be the next price because it's higher, right? So I'm just going to delete that, and we're going to do a conditional here. If the next price is higher than the highest price, the highest price will become the next price. So hopefully you guys understand that. Now we have to return something, which is the highest price. Now I'm going to console.log. Oh, we have to assign it to an array first, to a variable, I mean. So let's just call it highest price, like that. Now if you console.log highest price, and we do node reduce.js, we see 129 is the highest price, and this works. Okay, so it's getting a bit messy now. I'm just going to delete all of this, and now we're going to work with the strings. So let's say you want to find out who has the longest name, and from here you can see it's Katara, obviously, because she has 6 letters while everyone else has like 5 or 4. But you can use reduce to also figure that out. So I'm going to do gang.reduce, and remember there's the accumulator and the next array element. But for this I'm going to do, since we're trying to find the longest name, const longest name, we're going to do gang.reduce, and then we do longest name, and the next parameter is going to be the next name, right? Once again, it's an arrow function, and we're going to do if longest name dot length. So length basically returns the length of the string. It's a string method, I think. So if longest name dot length is more, if next name dot length, I mean, so it's going to be like the one where we found out the largest number. So if next name dot length is longer than the longest name dot length, we want the next name to be the longest name, right? It deserves in the title, so like that. and we're just going to return the longest name. Now, sorry, not that. We're just going to console.log longest name, right? Console.log longest name, and let's run this again, and we see that it prints out Katara. Now let's try again, and I'm just going to put Toph's last name, so Toph would have the longest name. So when you run this, it's not going to say Katara again, it's going to say Toph this time, and you see it prints out Toph. So I hope you guys understood or had a better idea about the reduce method. So just to recap, it takes in an accumulator, and the next parameter is going to be the next array element, and then you type out the reduction code here, and then you return the reduce value, which is usually the accumulator, or related to it at least. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video tutorials, and who knows, I think I might do another I'm going to do another array method tutorial in JavaScript if this gets like 10 views, right? So thank you for watching. See you.